Or maybe you could move the chairs like side like that.
Or make it like a round table?
Yeah, make it like a round table. Như vậy thì không có ai có thể nghe cái đâu.
Huh?
Okay, so how should we do it?
Let's put it together like a square.
Xếp bài kiểu ba bạn bên này là bạn bên kia. Rồi con người đứng ở dưới. Em con anh em những người bên kia hay ngồi bên kia được. Có con người đứng ở dưới.
Mình ngồi sát lại một xíu cũng được, ok? Anyway, mình ngồi sát lại em trước. Ngồi sát lại đi. Mình đâu cần mình uống nước mình ngồi sát lại đi.
This one here, sit here, so we can all sit right here together.
Ok rồi, mình xích gần đi nha. Mình mua cái ghế này em con mua cái ghế này. Mình đâu cần ngồi rộng đâu.
Nước có mà nó bạc đâu.
Đó cái đó.
Quá hẹp.
Có cần cái loa không? Kỳ sao đem cái loa tới?
Em lo tới chủ đó cái này đó. Loa cho mọi người có thể nghe được.
Okay, everyone. So I think you can hear me okay like this, right?
Yeah.
I think let's try to speak a little bit louder. But I want to thank everyone for coming here today. We're trying out a new location, new time for Vietnamese American Democratic Club. I guess we'll just do a quick round introduction, just your name, so everyone kind of know who you are, and then later on, hopefully, we have a little bit more time of networking. My name is Phong. Anh Chính.
Khoa.
Alan?
Tommy. Joseph.
Trung.
Holly. Phú. Trương Hoàng.
Yeah. So, you know. What?
Không sao.
It's okay.
Mình phải tốt lắm.
Yeah.
It's fine, we have to talk loud so we can hear each other. Otherwise we don't.
Chắc không cần biết nấu đâu, mình đâu có gì để biết nấu đâu. Yeah. So for everyone purpose, the purpose of the Democratic Club like this is just a space for all of us to come together. All of us who share the same value or similar value and what we believe in. In terms of what the Democratic Party stands for, also as well as what liberal America stands for. So this space is as much as yours as it is the club. I know it's really challenging after such a brutal election. Many people are bombarded with a lot of things. Every day you turn on the news, something else is falling apart, something else is going on, right? You get your blood boil every day. So hopefully through this space we get a chance to discuss some of that, and also a space to organize, because in 2 years, I mean, if you think about it, it's not just a presidential election that matters, right?
Midterm.
It's every time that there's an election. Next year is another election, right? But what do we do between now until next year to be ready to support candidates who fight for our values and to support campaigns that more reflect on our values, right? The election really, next year's election is not really November. It's really March, because California has an open primary system, right?
Midterm, not our primary in June. March is for presidential.
Or is it the other way around?
In the middle year is in June.
Okay. So
Bơ ở đây, bơ ở đây.
So I got it mixed up. In a midterm election, our primary is June, and then in the presidential year, our primary is March.
Thank you.
You think about it, from now to June, it's not a lot of time. Because for someone to start running for election next June, you're gonna start hearing candidates coming out before the end of this year, right? So like I said, the purpose of this talk is we're hoping that we will build up membership so that when it comes to election time, we have enough members to help out candidates, to help out different campaigns. For today's meeting, I want to leave some time later on for everyone to do. Yes, I have one.
Em có cái mà sẽ xử lý.
Yeah, you can have it. So today's meeting, I want to leave some time for us to network later. Yeah, one more for me and then. Anyone else got one more? Yeah. So I want to leave some time for networking, and then some time for us to share on what's coming up after this general meeting. Today, we thought about sharing about the latest thing that's being talked about, which is related to education. Right? As you all know, the Department of Education basically is going to get eliminated.
Right.
That's for sure. Right?
It's been since 1867. Incredible how they dismantle everything.
Today we'll have Joseph, who works in the field of education. He will share some of his thoughts, some of his takes on what's coming down the pipeline on the federal level in terms of what does it mean when the Department of Education is eliminated. What does that mean for California? What does that mean for our education locally? And then, you know, we also have Paul here. He's also serving on our Crown Valley School District and also the Coast Community College District as a trustee. He can also weigh in on what does it mean for him as a trustee on two of the bodies, one at the college level and one at the local elementary school level. Okay? But before we get to that, maybe we share a little bit first about we have an event planned for April. This year on April 19th to mark the 50th anniversary of Black April. So, Joe, you want to give an announcement about that event first before we go into talking about discussing today?
Okay, so
Bạc xỉu nóng ở đây. Dạ. Không biết nó có cà phê máu của Trump không?
hả?
Cà phê máu của Trump. Anh muốn thử.
Trump thích là cà phê golden shower. Okay, so maybe we continue. Okay, so my name is Trump. Maybe a lot of people know it. Anyway, we competition we have this year. We will remember our 50 years before Saigon. We call the Black April. 50 years. That's almost like half century. But so we all, so we need to do something. It doesn't matter what you are, Republican, Democrat, any religion or something. We need to do something. That's why we decided to organize one event we call like the 58th Black April Remembrance. And we will do that on April 19th on Saturday. But maybe put that 3 weeks before the 31st, because the 31st is not a big event. So, and our event will be what do I think you do? He allowed to use his facility. That very nice facility, the one in the beach street, between Hasa and 13th Street, like nice building. In there we can accommodate about 150 people. We have to stay, we have to drink. And that event, if you guys done that before, we done that for Vietnamese American Democratic about a few months ago. And what we've been doing is, number one, we remember our 50-year anniversary of the Black April. Secondly, we also honor the president. He very much put a lot of effort for Vietnamese refugees, that's President Carter. To me, because I'm one of both people, to me, he's my godfather. And even if he saved a lot of people during the time after the war in Saigon, and he bring almost like, I think I would say almost like
3.5 million.
People to the United States under his program. So unfortunately he passed away, that. During this event we also honor that. In our event we also looking for the past. Why we are here? We know that we have the vision. Secondly, we see some achievement of the Vietnamese American in the United States. Maybe we will highlight some success stories. We have a lot of success stories, but we can highlight that. And also we look to the future. We look to a new generation like Khoa, like Joseph, like the young people, what we should do. So hopefully that is some kind of like the topic we will discuss during our event. And we have the file already, and I have we have the statement. And actually I said not too far. Maybe we will revise it a little bit. We will send out. We will make a cover for the media in Vietnamese and also in English. So after you guys receive that, I would like you guys maybe forward to your friend, your network, and invite them to come to our event, because this is our separate event. We need to have everybody need to get together. It doesn't matter who you are, what the political line. We are Vietnamese American. We are the refugees, so we need to get together. So I didn't move. You have any word and who one of the speaker, because in our event, we will invite some elected officials. We invite some people in the building, leader, and of course we have some young people represent our generation speak. They share our their thought, and same thing like the old generation share their thought, and we share. So we started about 10 o'clock until 2:30, and the food will be provided, food and drink will be provided. And beside that, beside the speaker, we also have some singer. They sing some song related to Black April. We have some singer up there too. So hopefully you guys can come with us and join us, especially the people right here. When you receive the flyer, the statement, or they call what they call the press advisor or something like that. Okay, please forward to your friend, invite him. Any question about it? Any question? Otherwise, we will, send you more information. Maybe you want to say again. Thank you, Bo, because
Big hand for Fu, guys, for his location.
Without him, we cannot, because they cost a lot of money in order to have the facility like that. But anyway, we have in order to spend for food and also for the band for sound system. We have for people to donate it, like luật sư đỡ phụ donate money, bác sĩ của mình donate money, I donate some money, and you can donate some money. We cover, but we got about $1,500 cover for the cost. So everybody come there free, including we have food, we have drink, and we have entertainment there. So anyway, thank you again.
So can I suggest something also? So I'm a filmmaker, and my partner Jenny Aitin-Kai is one of the filmmaker directors. She works for HBO and NBC. So we've been working on a refugee film since 2020. Yeah, so the refugee film reflects stories about refugees, but also stories about the generals that sacrificed themselves during the 1975 when the end of April. So that movie also feature Pope Francis and the Dalai Lama as well. So maybe this is just a suggestion. You know, we show that film there to commemorate the 30th, 50 years of the April. But I like you to maybe, if you're okay with that, I'd like you to see it first.
I mean, how long is it? How long?
It's about an hour long. No, Jenny Jalei doesn't make refugee films.
Oh, by the way, one more thing is that the idea from Conway, we think that's a very good idea because we remember now that April, that we will have to remember the people have been died through the ocean when we escaped. We estimate about 500,000 people died in escape from the country. So Kong suggests we should have some kind of candlelight ritual in that event. So we will have the end of the event. We will have that, and hopefully Kong will have some wording to read it during that time. So that's another.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, our film also rescue spirits from the dead. So we travel to Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, various places where the Vietnamese die a lot, and then we pray for their spirits to go into ancient relics, and we take the relics to meet with Pope Francis and meet with the Dalai Lama to have them bless their spirit to heaven. So we did that already. It's in our film.
So anyway, maybe Kong and I we can review it. If we can cut it short, maybe about 5-10 minutes or something like that. We would have had more time because of that.
We can do that, or we can cut part of the Journey from the Fall movie.
Yeah.
That's also a refugee films as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, maybe we will discuss it offline. Okay, we will go back.
I think it would be great if we can host a separate event just for film streaming because the program that you came up with is already a lot of speakers.
Yeah.
You line up too many. It's already too long. So even that, I was afraid that we're not even going to have enough time to fit in all the speakers that you have lined up. So I think it would be great if we can talk about hosting like a specific event just for screening.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it and maybe we can host a special event.
Pull chair right here so it's closer.
Okay, Kong, maybe we can continue with the program then.
So yes, Joseph, if you, like I mentioned earlier, right? The biggest thing that a lot of people's mind right now is with the elimination of the Department of Education. What does that mean for our community? What does that mean for our state? As you know, there are education is one of the issues that our community cares about a lot, right? So, Joseph, if what we're hoping is that Joseph will help kick off the conversation, share his thoughts and what he knows is coming down the pipeline, and then later on, we all can have a discussion about what's going to happen. So I apologize that I don't have a full bio for Joseph, so I'm only going to mention a few things that I know about him. He's now a professor. So I first met Joseph as a student leader at UCLA. He's a former president of the Vietnamese Student Union at UCLA when I met him. And he has gone on to do bigger and better things. And now I should call him Professor Joseph Lin. So, Joseph, you want to take over?
I want to keep this an informal conversation, so maybe I can just sit down and maybe people over there, can you hear me? Yeah, if you want, maybe like come closer so we can have just kind of a relaxing, casual rather than a lecture. I like that better. So nếu những người ở bên kia mà không nghe được thì có thể sit qua vô. Yeah. Oh, do you really want me to stand up? Okay, I'll just talk like this. So, hi everybody, my name is Joseph. Currently, I have two jobs. I am a lecturer at Cal State Long Beach. I teach Vietnamese American history, Vietnamese American studies. And so, anything you want to know about Vietnamese American experience in the past 50 years, my master's degree is from Columbia on Vietnamese American studies. And so, probably one of the only people here who actually, spent most of my college career focusing solely on Asian Americans, Vietnamese American history, all of the things you want to know about Vietnamese Americans. So hopefully today I can touch a little bit about how education and the changes in education are going to impact the Vietnamese American community. My other job is that I am a dual immersion teacher. In Vietnamese it's called Chúc Trừng Của Nhạc Sông Ngữ. In the Vietnamese dual immersion program, from kindergarten to 12th grade, students learn everything, 50% English, math, science, social science in English, and 50% in Vietnamese. The goal is, even if your parents can speak Vietnamese or if they can't speak Vietnamese, by the time they go through 12 years of education, they should come out and be able to speak fluently in Vietnamese and know their language and their culture. Currently, I'm an 8th grade teacher. The oldest cohort in the nation is here in Westminster School District. They're in 9th grade at Westminster High School. So there's still 3 more years to go to develop a dual immersion program. Garden School District also has a dual immersion, and hopefully in the future there will be a lot more. In other areas like San Jose, Oregon, Washington, there are also dual immersions, but we're trying to lead that. So I teach U.S. history in Vietnamese as well as Vietnamese literature, Văn học Việt Nam, 8th grade. So just to start a little bit about education, my little topic, and I hope we can make this discussion. I'm going to speak very short and then let you all just contribute about the changes in education and the Vietnamese American community. So most of you, what you've heard about most is DEI. Anyone know what DEI stands for? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is the huge target. That's the most politically charged topics in education today. But at its base, to talk about DEI, we have to talk about what it is first. So diversity, equity, inclusion is a type of, it's a kind of all-encompassing term that can include a lot of policies, but essentially it is a type of initiative in order to promote representation in jobs, in education, in access for those who may not be fully represented in their communities. Let's say for back then in the community, Vietnamese Americans did not have high bachelor college degree rates. So an example DEI initiative or diversity, equity, inclusion initiative would be reaching out to Vietnamese Americans in order to get them to go to college by doing tutoring, SED tutoring, etc., or by helping them in the workforce to how do we understand Vietnamese Americans in the workplace. This can apply to a number of different ethnic communities. First, I need to talk about DEI is different from affirmative action. In California, affirmative action, which is allowing people, hiring someone based on their race, ethnicity, gender, etc., that is banned in California. That's also banned in America since the Supreme Court said that. Supreme Court said that affirmative action is not legal in the United States anymore. But DEI can be called something called soft affirmative action, in the sense that colleges, jobs can reach out to potential people, reach out to potential students, let's say a Vietnamese community, and do programs like high school tutoring or college tutoring to help these students gain access to college, to gain access to jobs. And in the workplace, DEI policies also include practices in a company in order for co-workers to be able to understand each other and treat each other with respect, as well as to ensure that, let's say, in jobs and in companies, that 100% of the leadership is not just all white American, right? That we do have representation, that there are women, that there are people of color, and that there are people of all different backgrounds to come. Going to the Trump administration is planning a about to sign an executive order to close the Department of Education and also to punish any colleges that are going to put forth any DEI programs. One example of that in the Vietnamese American community is that in West Point, so one of the best military schools already, there is an organization called the Vietnamese Cadets Program, the Vietnamese Cadet Organization, and the Vietnamese Cadet Association for Vietnamese Americans who want to enter the military. That organization no longer exists. It has been already eliminated by executive order from President Trump. That's one example of lots of programs in our colleges at University of California, CSU, that could be fined or that could be punished if they promote programs that promote anything related to quote-unquote diversity, equity, and inclusion. And keep in mind, this term is very broad, which means, let's say, it could range from things like having a Vietnamese graduation, or it can just range from things to trying to reach out to low-income students in the community. This is scary for the community because if you close the Department of Education, the Department of Education mainly does three main things. First is that it disperses what's called Title I funds. Title I funds are funds that help give money to low-income students, and they give money to schools with low-income students that help fund programs in the area. So let's say in Westminster we have a lot of Title I students because most of us come from low-income families. If Title I is eliminated, that can mean a lot less funding for our public schools. Closing the Department of Education, we're not sure how those new funds will be dispersed. It has to be through some other department, but that is one of the big effects. The second thing the Department of Education does that Trump wants to close is what's called IEPs, or special education programs. So under U.S. law, we need to have a lot of funding for our special education programs for students with special needs. That funding may be cut or may be diverted in another way if those students, if Department of Education is closed. And then the third thing of Department of Education is all of these initiatives that are supporting diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. And there's a lot of fear that comes with college campuses because this might mean a lot of loss of funding, a lot of research funding, or loss of funding for programs, clubs, and schools that support, let's say, Vietnamese American communities if they're promoting a certain policy. So we don't know what that will be in the future, but that is the main part of the cuts for Department of Education. Two things I'm going to talk about more as we think about more forward-looking is hopefully a future for the Vietnamese American community in the field of education. That is dual immersion, I already talked about already. And then one is also called ethnic studies. Ethnic studies is actually one of the big policies that is happening in California here, which ethnic studies is basically a new type of course that has been gaining a lot of ground in the last 5 years to teach courses about communities that have never been on a U.S. history textbook. If you open a U.S. history textbook, like I did in high school, you might get 2 pages on the Vietnam War, you might get 1 sentence on Vietnamese Americans. Not there at all. Luckily, we have people like Anh Phu and a lot of other people who are advocating for ethnic studies programs. In fall 2025, all high schools in the state of California will be mandated to offer an ethnic studies class in order to graduate high school in California.
That's great.
What this means, hopefully for the Vietnamese American community, is that our job is to advocate for our story as part of that. And so hopefully in Orange County, we have huge Vietnamese American communities. We can have a lot of ethnic studies classes at the high school level, at the community college level, which there is a mandate that already went out for community college. At the CSU level, there's a mandate that all students need to take an ethnic studies class to graduate CSU. And hopefully in the future at the UC level to be able to take something like that. And hopefully we can bring our experience, our history, our language, and our culture in. Hopefully I didn't talk too long, but I'd like to open it up to you all. And if you'd like to have any discussion about this topic, you can. And
Thank you,
hopefully
Joseph.
we can hear from Anh Phu because he's the expert actually. He is the trustee of community college
Great
history.
job.
So yeah, no pressure for you, but thank you.
Yeah, if I good, just
Yeah.
I just want to add on the ethnic studies that Joseph is talking about. I think it's critically important for our children's generation to learn about their fathers and grandparents' experience. Right now, if they choose to open a textbook or Google or study about Vietnam War or why we're here, they're only getting the perspective from the North Vietnamese and from the Americans. Missing in the conversation, missing in academia right now is the lens, the viewpoint from our story, right? So I think it's critically important that people like Joseph, educators are trying to develop these courses so that our sons and daughters, our kids can learn about why we're here, why our community is here. We're not a we're not a immigrant community, right? We're a refugee community. We're here because of political reasons. I think that's really important that they know that. And so, Joseph and I, aside from all the wonderful things that Joseph is doing, he's also helping me try to bring Vietnamese American experience courses to the colleges around here, OCC, Golden West, and Coastline, so that our college students, our community college students can take that course. But also, taking a step further, a lot of these high schools, like Joseph was mentioning, high school students are now required to take an ethnic studies course. So in high school, instead of, not all the high schools around here are going to have the resources or the teachers to be able to teach a full-on Vietnamese American experience or Vietnamese studies course, right? But the wonderful thing now that community college is doing is partnering with these high schools, having dual enrollment programs where high school students can take these college courses to satisfy their high school requirement, but also have it count towards their college credits. And so we're brainstorming ideas on, let's say, Coastline or OCC or Golden West. They can have like an online course for Vietnamese studies or Vietnamese American experience that is strictly for these high school students around Orange County. Anyone can sign up and register, take those courses, satisfy their high school requirements, and count towards college. But also the main thing is they have a chance to study Vietnamese history, the Vietnamese American experience. I think that's amazing that Joseph is doing that, and we should all. That's the critical thing that our community can really support this.
And this is one thing I also want to add. All of you are from, Orange County area, but, even just last week, so this is something I was advocating for the past 2 years, but at, let's say, Garden Grove School District, just this week, they announced that starting fall 2025, they're going to offer an Ethnic Studies Vietnamese American History course that can satisfy the graduation requirements. It's the first time ever in history, that you have a Vietnamese American Studies course that students can take to graduate high school. And so, rather than just 5 people taking it, they had a Vietnamese American Studies course before. If they want to, they can actually take it to get credit. And what I want you all to know is that local districts are governed by their local district, which means if you make a change at community colleges, that's not going to make a change at Huntington Beach High School District, that's not going to make a change at Garden Grove District, and that's not going to make a change at Anaheim. And so, wherever you live, your local district is where the power lies. And as you all, in the way to influence, trustees and to influence people who run our education systems is to go to board meetings and interact with those trustees, like people like Wu, to get the word out. I think one of the biggest issues is that for many Vietnamese Americans, we care about our history, we care about our language, we care about our culture, but maybe as a Democratic Club, we can think about ways to organize, parents, students, people who live in these areas to make change in their local district, because most of us agree with it, we just don't know what to do about it. And when we go into these other districts, hopefully we can have it in all of Orange County where there are Vietnamese American populations.
Just to add to we're the Democratic Club. Let's talk about running for office. Like, all of you guys should think about running for political office. There's no offense, but there's only so much you could do when you lobby, when you like speak in front of the district and stuff. But the change happens when you're in there. And I wouldn't be able to, partner with Joseph and do some of these things that we're trying to do if I don't have a foot in the door, right? And if I'm not pressing the right buttons. I think it's critically important that all of us here we think about running for office.
So
really get things done.
I have two questions. The first question is that you say that the local school board controls the program. Can Trump do executive order to eliminate any of those? Can you see if you can answer that?
Trump cannot tell you what you can and cannot teach because education is run in America is run by local school districts, and at a higher form of high schools, it is run by the state. So let's say California passes an ethnic studies law. Trump cannot say that he cannot pass a law banning ethnic studies in California. However, what the federal government does control is funding for states, for UC systems, for CSU. And that's what we're seeing now. Let's say Columbia University this week, because they had students protesting in the Israel-Palestine conflict. Trump took away $400 million from Columbia University. I went to Columbia University, so I know it very personally. That means $400 million less for programs to help low-income students, programs to push forward research topics, maybe about topics that we care about, let's say Vietnamese American studies. And for local school districts, if you have less money, when schools are deciding what should I cut, they're going to come to newest programs. Let's say, what if I cut ethnic studies just to make ends meet? And so it may indirectly affect our local districts. Lucky he cannot pass a law what we can and cannot teach, but the funding is important towards how local school districts decide what's going to be taught, who we're going to hire, who we're going to fire, etc.
Okay. The second question I have is, if he eliminates the Department of Education, all the funding that goes to all the different schools, what happened to it?
That's an unanswered question. Technically, Title I funding and IEP funding, etc., is passed by law of Congress. Only a law of Congress could actually take away funding. Same thing. Department of Education was founded by Jimmy Carter in 1979, and so technically only a law of Congress can actually truly eliminate the Department of Education. But Trump, like with all the other things he's doing, is testing the waters and seeing if the legal, the courts will hold up his executive order. But it's really up in the air. The likelihood he may try to get a law passed to take away the funding, but he might not. Or it may be redirected to other departments, by which we don't know what the system will look like. Just like student loans. Like student loans don't go away because he abolishes Department of Education, but it may be funded through some other department that he has more control of. And how that will work, no one really knows.
So he can pretty much channel that money to anywhere he wants.
Maybe. I mean, it's a really complicated question, but in general, without a Department of Education doing it, you're going to see a lot of backlog. So if, let's say, student loans are already slow, or Title I funding is already slow, it's going to get even slower, and that will affect when do schools get their funds, what support they will get, etc. So,
have you had an internal discussion with your board about this?
A lot.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. So like Joseph said, like 90-95% of education funding is state. The federal government comes in to supplement some of the programs that are for low income, English learners, mental health, like all these programs that are really supplemental. And so with our district, it's only about 2-3% of that. Other districts that get more title funding, it's like Title 1 through 9. Like Title 1 is like low income, Title 2 I think is like English learners, Title 3 is like Anyway, I get the numbers mixed up. There's 9 titles for 9 different categories of funding. Basically, if he cancels the Department of Education, that funding won't go away, but like Joseph said, it has to be diverted to somewhere else. Nobody knows where it's going to be diverted to right now, but it has to be still absorbed and paid for somehow. He's just going to mess up the system and make it a lot harder. But the dangerous thing is, he tweeted this a few days ago. All federal funding will stop for college or universities if they engage in illegal protest. If any colleges, if you have students that are protesting against Trump, if he doesn't like it, they can take away, your funding. They can say, hey, you're not getting this or that funding. What it comes down to is we're now seeing a system where
Dictator.
like a dictator who, if he doesn't like something, if something doesn't go his way, he can really do some damage to the system. And of course, there's gonna be lawsuits, there's gonna be fights and stuff. But we're basically moving towards that.
Yeah.
We're seeing that right now, and all the school districts, we're having not only conversations within our district, but there's weekly calls at the state level, at the federal level, to see how we're gonna collectively react when these executive orders come out. But it's honestly, everybody is just really stepping on eggshells right now. Very fragile. The situation is very volatile. Nobody is overreacting at all the districts, but we've just been advised to stay flexible, stay nimble, have some plans ready, get ready for when he does come down with the executive order to eliminate the Department of Education. Basically, you're going to see a lot of school districts scramble to see where they're going to get these funding from if the federal government stops the funding. At the end of the day, who does it hurt? Federal funding, all the title funding, it hurts the most vulnerable. It hurts the low income, students with disabilities, mental health. It hurts those people.
Anto?
Okay, yeah. Actually, my question almost the same like with your first question about related to the funding. But then you guys answer me quite a bit, but I would like more clarification. Okay, so you say school district and maybe college level funded by the state, right? Not from the federal, right? 95%. So that means state California, they can come up with some even if ethical classes or something like that. So no interfere, so Trump cannot do anything with that, right? For school, for example, dual immersion Vietnamese school, Trump cannot eliminate that, right? I would like to clear about that.
He can't, but he can affect funding for those schools. And when schools, let's say, you just spent $500,000 for this new ethnic study, Vietnamese American Studies program, and then suddenly you lose $1 million because, for maybe an arbitrary reason, maybe Trump says you're too left, maybe because you're offering ethnic studies programs. What are you going to cut? You're going to cut what's newest, or which is going to be those programs.
But let me ask you, the dual immersion program right now funded by state or by federal level?
Dual immersion programs are funded by local districts. They get some funding from the state. And so all local districts are funded by local property taxes. They also get extra funding from the state. And they get funding from the federal government for low-income students and special education students. It is possible that, but if the federal government stops funding towards these districts, in general, they will have less money overall. And what do you do with less money overall? That's up to each district. But it does mean, let's say, as a new program like the immersion school, it is possible that it could get cut or not expanded. But that's really up to each district.
But like who mentioned only maybe about 5%?
It depends on that district. If you're like a wealthy district, you get very little federal funding because you don't have a lot of low income
the district I worked at, Westminster School District,
But
know
Santa
about.
Ana, Garden Grove, schools have a lot of Title I schools. They get more. Like Fountain Valley, we get very little
Yeah.
Title
The
I.
Westminster School District, about 60-70% of students are low income, so they get a lot of funding from the federal government.
Now, I know that this conversation is very important, but I like the whole Vietnamese community to know it. So can we do like a press conference with a lot of YouTubers and stuff like that to talk about this issue? Because for example, the issue you say like the West Point, where the Vietnamese cadet program or something like that has been eliminated. This is important for the Viet MAGA to listen to it and to understand it. Understand different programs that are being eliminated. They don't know that they're voting for this. So I think, we should have like a press conference day.
Right now, that's the first step.
Yeah.
He's only wielding his, magic wand, whatever, on federal stuff, right? West Point, that's federal. So he can say stop there. But what if he goes a step further and says all schools in the U.S. can teach only English?
Yeah, because he just come out.
You
Right?
Right.
start taking funding from Columbia, that's a private university.
And schools like Westminster School District, DeMille, all the other schools, even though he can't take funding away from dual language immersion because that's state funding, he can say, if you don't teach only English or if you have other language programs, I'm taking away all your title funding.
There's no way to make up to make the federal revenue laws.
Yeah, actually, because yesterday or something he signed executive order. It said English will become official language, right? Just recently. I said yesterday something like that.
But again, that only affects federal stuff,
Yeah.
right? That hasn't affected,
But the first step, maybe you can do further more, right? You can,
we're only in the first 50 days, guys.
Yeah.
So that's good idea. Something like that. Maybe we need to have some kind of, press conference. We organize it, all the press conference. And-
Why don't we do that on April 19th?
No,
We'll go-
we don't have time. Maybe after that.
Just a little bit.
After the event,
Yeah.
something like that.
Be like a podcast.
April 19th is when we have a 50-year commemoration of the Black April. So April 30th, 1975 is when we lost South Vietnam to communism. And then we wanted to commemorate that and have people remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, 50 years ready. But we will send but anyway, Ireland,
April 19th we'll do that.
April 19th we will send Anyway, this is the big topic.
Right.
The community should know, so maybe we have set the
It
event.
has to be a big event. Yeah.
There's no bigger issue in the Vietnamese community
Yeah.
than education.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
education is the number one for us, right? We care a lot. So.
Như một cái cuộc thuyết trình ở báo người Việt, something like that.
Yeah.
Anh nghĩ là mình nên chốt cái bên ngoài xong rồi mình viết cái bên ngoài hoặc là mình
No, maybe we have some speaker.
Let's do it at Bang Người Việt. It's pretty good, the hallway.
No, we can invite all the press.
Correct. We need to invite all the press. Yeah. And you know what? We can invite the MAGA leader, Vietnamese leader, to be there, to debate with us. Yeah, to debate with us.
Who's the Vietnamese MAGA leader?
Possibly, yeah. Just make sure you watch out your pocket.
He wouldn't
He
call
can
him
come.
MAGA.
Yeah, he can come and talk. He's not the leader of the MAGA. No, he's a Republican, but I don't think Tree is a MAGA.
I don't think this is the leader.
No, there are leaders. Yeah.
So any more question for Pooh and
I don't think she's bad. I guess
She's a Republican.
Okay, hold on.
She,
What are
she,
some of the
she
local
goes
challenges you
forward
face
MAGA ideology.
from the Vietnamese community
But
to
she
get the
doesn't declare
buy-in?
herself as
Like
a
where
MAGA.
are you facing challenges on a local level? Is it from other like school
Yeah.
district board members? Is it from local
she's
leaders?
like a hidden-
Like what do you see on a local
She's
basis?
not
I
enough
don't
to
see
disclose, but
the
she
issue
uses
being locally.
MAGA ideology.
Whether you're Republican or Democrat on a school board, you're all united on this. Like my school board is 3 Republicans and 2 Dems. We're working together to fight this. So I don't think it's a partisan issue locally. Yeah, everyone is just on edge right now with what's going on.
But actually, for your answer, too, it doesn't matter We are, like Vietnamese, Republican and Democrat. Education is number one first. We care a lot. So I'm for sure we united. It doesn't matter what. Okay. Okay.
Other communities like the Latino community or the Filipino community to really address this problem because since it's an issue that just like because these are like non-white communities but like the effect is
The Latino community has been heavily impacted in either one funding.
Yeah. So I think for that event, we should invite various community to the press conference and talk about it.
our strength is in our community, right? But then also we should just tell communities to be united in the same sense.
Because I feel like Santa Ana,
The older Vietnamese community, the immigrant community.
Yeah.
So the older Vietnamese community, the immigrant community, they are very, very stubborn. So like for example, my dad's side of the family, they're dark black. They're very, very dark black. And I've tried to talk to them, I've tried to have a conversation, they will not listen. And they're stubborn.
You should introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Ethan. I was on a Dare Train campaign. You're right there. But yes, so they're super stubborn, and the only way to get to them is not just to talk. Like it's not like having a Dare Trent or other Democrats talk to them. They're not going to believe them. They're not going to believe any of the Democrats. They don't listen to them. So what I usually tell them is, okay, fine. If you don't believe us, then go watch the news for yourself. Go on Twitter. The thing is, they're in this bubble. They only watch Fox News. They're only on Facebook. They don't listen to other sources. So if you guide them to watch C-SPAN, to go on Apple News and look at like a diversity of news organizations, then they can learn for themselves what exactly the president is saying, right? Because if we tell them Trump is threatening to withdraw funding because certain schools aren't teaching what he wants to teach, which is considered an autocracy, right? That's dictatorship. If we tell them that, they're not going to listen to us. They're going to say that we're spewing propaganda. So again, what I usually say is, if you don't listen to us, then go look in the news and look for it and watch for yourself. Go read the news for yourself because they don't listen. They're very, very stubborn, and I've been very frustrated with like my dad's side of the family because they just think everything's propaganda. That
They are brainwashed beyond help.
yes.
So what Trump did really well is brainwashing them and plant this seed inside of them that you can't take out. And then everything that Trump does is to them is correct. And everything else is wrong. So it's very difficult to remove this shield that Trump had planted inside them. Very difficult. And it's very difficult for you to tell them to, okay, you have to watch both sides of the news and then determine for yourself what you want. They just listen to one side and say, okay, in their belief that Trump is God sent, that Trump is going to destroy the communists. And they believe in that 1,000,000%. And that's why anything that Trump does is correct and everything else is wrong. So it's very difficult, very, very difficult.
But especially they do not listen to like people on the other side, like Dare Trent.
They don't.
Since he's a Democrat, anything that he says, they're just not going to believe.
Right.
So the only way to get to them is to let them find out for themselves, and in that way, they can look at C-SPAN, and they can look at the other news organizations that aren't really targeted by conservatives, like CNN and MSNBC. Like those are already like they're gonna think that's propaganda, right? If they download C-SPAN and actually look at the facts, that's the only way we can get to them. Because they're not gonna listen to us. They're not going to. They're not
Well,
going to.
let's have press conference to tell them that, hey, these are your benefits for your community that being lost and mutilated.
I think one thing about the
You know?
Vietnamese American community is that I actually think that Vietnamese Americans are very issue focused. So if you focus on an issue without the tribalism involved, you find that Vietnamese Americans actually, there's a study done by UC Berkeley on the Vietnamese democratic policies, such as you know, healthcare, Medicaid, etc., Social Security, full funding. You know, they support things like rent control, surprisingly. They support things like education, and they lean more towards the democratic side of education. So if you do focus on certain issues, there are things that Vietnamese Americans actually do care about. Let's say something like ethnic studies at Garden Grove. When I was doing advocacy, I was doing advocacy with both Vietnamese and non-Vietnamese people on both sides, because they do care about our community. Even the MAGA people, you know, những người chống cộng nhất, thì they care about preserving their history, their language, or culture, sometimes even more. And you know, those are things that we can kind of hopefully use to talk to the Vietnamese people in the community about.
I'm afraid. Okay. Those Vietnamese, they will betray education, they will betray healthcare, they will betray social security, everything, and believe in Trump.
Yeah.
But anyway, all that academia stuff is true until Trump. Seriously, like.
It's the devil's at work.
Yeah, the devil's
It's the devil's at work, and the devil is doing an effective job at it.
But in it, we pick up something, you know, not people can unite it.
Yeah.
And education, one of
Let's
it.
find issues that we believe the majority of Vietnamese will
Education,
support.
the thing people can agree.
Let them know, because the midterm election is very important. If we take away the House, we take away the Senate, there's nothing he can do. We can control him, and we can actually impeach him. Again, third time.
You know, my biggest fear is that Jan Nguyen might run in 2026 and take Derek out, because she's a lot more well known.
Who?
Jan Nguyen.
Oh, she's gonna run?
It's a possibility.
No, she won't. She won't. You know why? Because right away after Michelle Steele lost, she registered already.
Oh yeah, she did.
She already registered the day that she lost. She registered.
But it doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean, they
needs
can
to drop out.
They can check.
and her husband Sean is, you know, on the Republican chair for the whole state.
Sean Steele actually mentioned
Yeah.
to
So
Jan Nguyen to not run, and Janet said that
Right.
she's not running.
Maybe we can stop
So I think this is a good conversation. I like the energy. I like what everyone has to share, and I don't want to stop here. I want everyone to continue talking and networking. But I just want to mention a few things before we, before we continue
Right.
chatting and dialogue. Is that first of all, I want to say again, thank you everyone for taking your time to come out and join this meeting. Those of us, all of us, right? We sit at home. We have all this thought. You know, every day we turn on the news. We hear another thing's falling. And, you know, if you ever think of where else can you find a group of people who you can share your thoughts and who will probably share similar values that you share, and that's the purpose of this club, right? So our club is still small. We're still trying to build it up. So come April 19th, like I said, we'll have a special event to mark the 50th anniversary of Black April. But also we're gonna try to have something every month for everyone to come together. And in between, I'll add everyone on the mailing list. So feel free to communicate that way. If something concerns you, you want the club to talk about, you want the club to discuss or take action, you can contact me. If you're interested in taking another step and join the leadership of the club, welcome. I'm actively recruiting for a new board. After April, we have API Head of One coming up. And like I said, all these issues are not going to go away. So we're going to try and find a way to capture what we talked about today. Like, I don't know, I'm just on top of my head. I think Joseph and maybe you can help think about leading like some kind of op-ed, on this issue of education. Write an op-ed, we can push it out to our Vietnamese community media, to at least that they know what we think. They know about all this important issue that we just talked about. So I'll leave you to think about that. But once again, please put your email down so I can get into the mailing list. And I don't want this to be the end. So we're going to go back and network and continue talking and chatting. But I just want to say thank you again, and I look forward to staying connected with everyone. Okay?
But we need to save a date, okay, on April 19th, okay? please. Okay, so maybe we can, anyone want to go, let's go. But if we want to sit around,
I haven't met you yet.
Should we take a picture of the?
oh yeah.
Yeah, let's take a group picture together.
My name's Elizabeth.
Take it outside.
Someone take a picture, right?
Email me.
Yeah, good idea.
Do you have your phone?
Sure.
Giờ không em vô luôn Phong.